Welcome to The Real Deal, where it's all about businesses in central Massachusetts and northeastern Connecticut. And now, your host, Anthony Chabot of Chabot and Associates.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Real Deal podcast. My name is Anthony Chabot from Chabot and Associates Real Estate Group of EXP, and on today we have a very special guest, Amanda Lawton of Lawton Law and Associates. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much.
So we've been talking for a little while about doing this podcast. I think we finally got around to it, so I'm very happy to be here with you. And can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, I am an attorney. I am born and raised in Killingly, so it was perfect that I opened my business in Killingly. Just some basic information first. Anybody can call me and run legal questions by me. 860-481-6592 is my number. I also have a website, lawtonlawassociates.com.
And you're a member of the Killingly Business Association.
I am.
Which we have in common, and you're a big supporter of it, platinum sponsor for the Killingly Second Saturday. So thank you very much for that. You're
welcome.
So I think that's we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, but we want to really talk about Lawton Law and Associates to get started with the show here. So you and I think we met through the Killingly Business Association. Is that right?
Yes. I actually think we went to a wedding together first.
Did we really?
I mean, not together, but we were at a wedding together. Yeah. I noticed because you were very active with the drone work and the...
Was it Tara and Joy?
It was.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, great. So, I love those guys. They're awesome.
Yeah, so I did see you there. But yes, business-wise, we did meet through the Killingly Business Association. I decided to step out of my comfort zone this year, even though I've been in business since 2017, I believe it was, that I registered with the town of Killingly as being in business in Killingly.
Right, yeah.
But this year I decided to step out of my comfort zone. I joined the Killingly Business Association, and I've been trying to make as many meetings and mixers and events as I can. And so when I saw that the sponsorship was available for Killingly Second Saturdays, I was very excited. And so I decided to be platinum sponsor.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support. That is really a huge deal. I think we're going to make a lot of progress with that. The group is very passionate, so I think that there's a lot of good people that are getting involved with it. And at first, it was like we just ran into obstacles, but then we ended up we just have so much support, and now everybody's on board. Yeah. And actually, people that were seemingly not on board are like really involved and passionate about it too. So we have a downtown committee actually that's forming, and that's going to be a big help to us too. So, but enough about the Killingly Business Association for now. Let's get on to the different types of law that you practice and a little bit about your history. So, where did you go to school, and what types of law do you practice?
So I was born and raised in Killingly, like I said. Mm-hmm. I graduated from Killingly High School in 2005. I went to QVCC for my first 2 years. I got my associates there.
Yep.
I then went on to Eastern and got a dual major, and always had law school in my future. I knew first day of kindergarten that I wanted to be an attorney. So as soon as I graduated, I went to Roger Williams Law School in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous campus. I loved the facility, and they have a great education program. As soon as I graduated, passed the Rhode Island bar, Connecticut bar, decided to settle back in Killingly. I got married while I was in law school to another Killingly hometown boy, Josh Lawton. But we decided that I was going to open my own business instead of working for someone else. We really liked the idea as a family that we would work hard, and he would support me as I opened my own business. So I opened Lawton Law and Associates in, I think it was beginning of 2017. We advertise as a general practice. I'm very passionate about family law, and that's what I had in mind when I opened the practice. But I also do simple wills and probate administration, and I do personal injury and motor vehicle accidents, and I am relatively new to the real estate law field, which has been very exciting.
Which is great because you and I, I'm sure we're going to be working together a lot.
Yes, hopefully.
So because I have big plans for a lot of real estate transactions in the future, I'm doing everything I can to get my name out there. But had a lot of success. My first year, I think we had 20 closings, something like that. So which is pretty good. Believe it or not, my first closing was June of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've only been
happy anniversary
having closings for a year now, and it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to working with you, and hopefully we can have a lot of closings together in the future.
Yes, and I'm starting to see more and more of your signs around town.
Yeah,
very classy, black background with the white writing. I like them.
It's supposed to be like a navy, but they come out. Sometimes they come out really dark. And so, it's got to be real.
I like the contrast, not too busy.
But yeah, I like it.
Read your name. I like them.
I like it. Yeah, it stands out pretty good. And your logo also very nice, stands out, and that horizontal works really well with the banners too.
Yes.
So really, North Star. So I'm getting my logos mixed up here, but North Star. Jason Verano, his logo.
Yes.
Really showed up really nice on that banner, by the way. So anyway, a little off track again. My number one problem is tangent. So, but let's get into you. So we're talking about the different types of law that you do: personal injury, motor vehicle accidents, family law, and real estate. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing I wanted to get into is, did we already talk about? Because I know we talked a little bit before. What you're really passionate about.
So like I said, I started with family law in mind. I have always wanted to help families. And so in the beginning, I thought that being a family law attorney was the only way that I would help families. And while I'm still very passionate about it, I'm very proud that one of my first cases that I took to court, I went up against a more established firm. And I got a lot of money for my client in a divorce settlement, a lot more than other attorneys told her she would get. And so that's sort of one of those moments that I'm really proud of. I am still very passionate about family law. But personally, I am a little passionate about motor vehicle accidents. Seems a little strange. Unfortunately, I think most people think of ambulance chasers, and a lot of the clients that I take on will say, I'm not someone who normally sues, and that's not what it's about for me. For me, it truly is about helping a victim of a car accident. I have been a victim of 5 car accidents. I was not at fault in any of them. 2 of them, I was actually a passenger. So, I mean, who else does that happen to? 5 car accidents to one person. It was in the span of like 3 years. It was crazy. So I came across, in my own personal experience, I came across a lot of people who didn't believe me. They thought that I was just trying to get more money. And I was not. I was truly injured, emotionally, psychologically, physically. And so I believe that victims of car accidents, and I also do personal injury, but that you truly are a victim and you need someone to stand up for you and help you out. And so that's something that I am passionate about, and I like to represent people because I really believe that you deserve to be made whole. I believe that you deserve a fair settlement. So that's something, even though I do, quote, family law, I have incorporated into my practice because I think that it does help families. I think that it really does. I think that someone who's in a car accident in their 20s deserves a settlement for them and for their family, because they are going to be impacted for the rest of their life. Right. Yeah. Car accidents are no joke. No joke.
Yeah. You don't want to mess around with that.
No.
And so do you have some recommendations for people when if I were to get into a car accident, what would be the first thing that you would tell me to do?
Honestly, call an attorney. And I don't just say that because I am an attorney. I say that because a lot of mistakes are made in the first week or two when people try to handle their own claims, or if the statements aren't correct, they don't know what to do, or they'll talk to the other insurance company, and maybe you shouldn't be talking to the other insurance company. Maybe,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
be careful who you talk to.
Yeah, people don't know that you really should be made whole, so they don't know about rental cars, or they don't know all of the different aspects of it. And so I really do think as soon as you are in a car accident, just call an attorney.
Well, I actually always defer to the attorneys whenever I run into a situation and I don't know how to handle it, because there's only so much that you can really be good at. And then over years, you get this experience, and you get these you learn from your experiences. So if you have 100 transactions in there, or 1,000 transactions, or 10,000 transactions, the more pieces that you're going to be able to pull from these little pieces of the puzzle, as I always like to refer to. But as I go along, I'm learning a lot of different things. But there are definitely every transaction, usually there's something in there that you're learning about. Right now, there's a hot tub situation we have to rectify, and then there's a piano potentially that we may have to move. So I've never had to try to move a hot tub or a piano before, so now we're gonna have to figure this out.
Right.
And then it gets more complicated than that too, because then there's repairs, and like can we work something out with the hot tub, maybe because the hot tub wasn't included and you want repairs, so can we give you the hot tub, and do we have to get these things done by closing, because maybe there's no money to get this stuff done until the closing. So there's like all these complications, and then you have to talk to the attorneys to find out what is possible. What can we do here? Attorneys are also really good at structuring solutions. So if I have a situation and I have a buyer for a property, and they don't have the financing because the property doesn't justify a loan, because there's not that much income showing, but they really want this property. How can we work something out where we can, maybe the attorney has experience, or maybe even have connections with investors, so maybe they can come up with a solution, or things that they've seen in the past where they can actually find a way to get a property financed, because they've seen all these transactions over the years. So you can actually refer to an attorney to get advice that very few people have that experience. So definitely call an attorney. Whenever there's a question, if you have access to an attorney and you can get a quick phone call and get some direction, definitely take advantage of that. Which leads me to my next question, which is how do you handle a situation where somebody calls you and they're looking for free advice? Do you have like a free initial consultation, or how do you do that?
So I do a free half an hour consultation. One of the things that I like to tell my clients, this isn't just a free half an hour of just advice. They're almost like interviews. Let me hear what's going on. Let me hear where you are in your case so far. I can point you in directions. I have no problem with telling people, this is the direction that you should be going in instead, or sometimes with family law, especially because unfortunately you run into quite a few clients who don't have funds for an attorney, then sometimes I can point them in the right direction where there's free services, free resources. Connecticut has a great website that offers lots of free services. So there's great FAQs, and there's documents, and there are some states in the United States where you don't have access to that information. The general public doesn't have access to that. Connecticut is great at making sure that everyone has access to basic information. So I'm fine in that initial consultation, especially if we do sort of an initial financial conversation about where you stand, and because that's a big part of it. Hiring an attorney is not cheap. I have very competitive rates with other attorneys in the area.
Okay.
I work very hard at trying to make sure that overhead costs are low, so that I am not charging an astronomical amount of money per hour for clients. There is some work, for example, car accidents. The standard for all attorneys is a percentage of what you get. So you don't pay an attorney up front if you're in a car accident.
Well, that's really good to know. So you don't have to worry about having to fork over a couple $1,000s initially.
No,
that's really good to know.
You don't pay an hourly for an attorney. They're working hard to get you the most amount of money, because then they take a percentage off the end.
Yep.
Something like family law, I do charge an hourly rate. And then, as you know, I'm sure with real estate, it's a flat fee, and those are very competitive.
For the closing, right? Yep. Yeah. And actually, that's kind of interesting. So when I introduce people to their attorney, usually it's when I get a listing, I'll talk to the seller and I'll say, all right, who are you going to work with for your attorney? And if they don't have one already, then I'll refer usually 3 attorneys. Same thing with mortgages. I always just do it by the book and just do 3 because I don't want to. But if they have a specific situation, I'll actually have somebody that I can refer that's, say, this guy's good at this guy's good at this guy's good at this, or girl or gal, So that's kind of how I do it as far as working with listings. But then when the next part of it is when we get an offer on the property. So when that happens, we got to find out who is their attorney. If they're not from the area and they want to have an attorney from the area, same thing. So I can refer 3 more attorneys for that situation. But yeah, that's when the communication begins. So with the listing, it starts from the time that we list the property. I basically tell them they need to get in touch with their attorney and get everything straightened out, start the communication, find out, make sure that they're on board with it. They can take you as a client, and then with the buyer's agent would have to schedule an appointment with the attorney too, to get the buyer involved with the attorney, so that they can make sure that their ducks are in a row, and then the attorneys talk to each other, and so and then they schedule the closing, and we do the title search and all that stuff. So it's usually closings are 45 days from what I've seen. Typically we try to shoot for 45 days, sometimes 30 days depending on the financing. So that's pretty much it. But the process from the time we list it, and then we just kind of like make that initial communication, and then when we get a buyer, we start that initial communication, and then it seems like it just flies. So from the time you get it under agreement to the time that it closes, that time just goes by so quick. It
does, and that's the time that I'm involved. So I'm not involved when you're thinking about listing, or you're taking the pictures, or you're getting everything ready. I'm involved when it's go time. And so handling real estate law has been very exciting because it's very fast paced. It's a lot of, we like to joke about, it's hurry up and wait. So you hurry up and get all of this paperwork in, and then you wait for the next person to do their job, and then you hurry up and get something else in, and then you wait for the next person. But I like it. I like that it is fast paced, especially because to compare to car accidents, which could take 2 years to settle, you're handling the same case for 2 years.
Right.
With real estate, like you said, every 6 weeks I'm turning over new clients. I have some very exciting cases on the books. I'm excited about what it does for families. I like that I still have the overarching theme of helping families, because it's been really exciting. Seeing people, I thought it was a little more transactional than it actually is, and there is more heart in it than I initially thought. It's exciting to see people ready for the closing that I just had last week was a couple that has been married for years, and they have rented the entire time that they've been married. They're in their 40s and they just bought their first home, and it was so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Yeah. I actually really enjoy real estate. It's my favorite career I've ever had, and I wouldn't change it for anything, actually. And I love both the commercial and the residential, in which that's another good question, actually, is what is it that you focus on? Do you have a focus of either commercial or residential, or do you do both?
I actually have done a commercial. I do not focus on it. Part of what commercial brings is a tangent, if you will, down a couple different areas of law. So I have done a relatively simple commercial transaction.
Okay.
And part of that was because the building wasn't being transferred. The building was rented. And so it was just the business itself.
Sold the business. So
that's a lot easier. That's a lot easier. But I like residential. I think it's exciting.
Residential's good. The thing I like about residential is that it's a lot more standardized than commercial. Commercial's like all over the place, crazy town. You don't know if you're dealing with 5 tenants in a building. You may have contamination that you have to go through environmental studies, and then there's can you do whatever you want with the property, or is it zoned for something? Even if it's commercial, they might not allow you to do. I have one over here across from Walmart, 604 School Street. Guy wanted to put a car dealership in there. It's only a quarter acre. You need an acre to put a car dealership or a pre-owned or repair shop. So then you have to bring it to the zoning board of appeals, and it's $160 fee. And then you really want to pay that $160. If you're not going to, there's a very good chance you're not going to get it, but like maybe they'll give you a hint that you're going to get it. So yeah, there's a lot. Commercial is very complicated, but residential can get complicated, but for the most part, it's, if you have a level lot, 3-bed, 2-bath, you have standard heating system and cooling system if there is one. What's the condition of the roof, the septic system, and all of these things. You just, it's very repetitive because you've been through it 100 times. But with commercial, it's just a completely different animal. You have all these different types of businesses in there and all these different fixtures, and it's a lot of times the properties are enormous and they're expensive. And then the lending is different. So, it's totally different. But I really love it all. I love learning about all of these different things because I figure if I expose myself to all of these different areas and I learn a little bit as I go along, I can actually eventually have a better idea of where I want to focus. Right. But also, everybody starts somewhere, and nobody knows anything when they first get started. So when I first started, I was like, well, I don't know anything about anything. So why would I, I mean, even though I've been in real estate marketing for 15 years, the actual real estate transactions, I hadn't been exposed to the inner workings of those. So I said, if I don't know anything about residential and I don't know anything about commercial, why don't I just learn a little bit about both of them? And then in 5 years from now, I'll have a lot of experience in both of them. Right. And that seems to be now that I basically had my license for about 3 years, and I've been doing heavy transactions for the past year. I think, probably in a couple of years, I'm going to be pretty knowledgeable in a lot of areas. I already learned a lot in the first year. Yes. It's been pretty awesome. Yeah. So, how about you? What's your experience with that? Like, I know we talked about all the different types of law that you do here: personal injury, motor vehicle accidents, family law, real estate. Are there any others, or does that pretty much cover everything that you do?
I do wills. I do simple wills, and I do some probate administration. I also this year became a VA accredited attorney.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's something that, as an outsider, you don't know that it's even a thing. Yeah. You don't know that it's a special accreditation from the VA. Okay. And you have to apply, and you have to go through sort of a vetting process and become a VA accredited attorney. And if you want help with your VA benefits, you can't go to someone who is not accredited by the VA. So it's something that my family is big military family. My grandfather he served in World War II and was wounded and was very proud of serving for the U.S. Army. My stepfather was in the Navy and loves telling about the ships, and my uncle and my cousins. I mean, it's all over. And I
have met some Navy men in my life that just have the best stories.
Yes, the best stories. He loves to talk about the ship.
And you hear the same ones over and over sometimes, and it's like, I love this story. Yes. It's pretty cool.
So, becoming a VA accredited attorney, it has a lot of regulations. I'm actually not allowed to advertise about it.
Wow, that's strange, isn't it?
It is only something that you are allowed to talk to current clients about. It's an area that you can sort of cross and say, by the way, I also do this, but I am not allowed to advertise because they're very sensitive. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to make it seem like we're trying to get something from you. Our fees are very regulated. This is not, I don't want to sound too crass, but this is not a moneymaker. This is something that I did because it means a lot to me. And I hope that even if I help just one veteran get the benefits that they deserve, then it will have been worth it, and I'm happy. So in talking about the other areas of law, that is an area that I do practice, but you won't hear me talk about it very often because, like I said, it is pretty regulated. But
there's definitely a large population because I know the Veterans Coffee House in Killingley, I think they have 300 members or maybe 400 members by now. Very large.
It's still growing. They actually expanded into Willimantic now. They have appointments. They
have locations all over the place. Yeah. Putnam, Killingley, Willimantic. Yeah. And they always go to all the Business Networking Association meetings. I see them stand up at every single one, and they announce the Veterans Coffee House. And I wouldn't have known about it if I hadn't been attending the local Business Association meetings, which is, let me point out how important that is. Holy cow. So we have Killingley Second Saturdays in Killingley that are coming up on July 13th and August 10th, second Saturdays of the month. and they're basically street festivals. And I had somebody, we're looking for food vendors for these events. We actually have so many sponsors and vendors and all that stuff signed up, and entertainment and everything. It's going to be really great. But I was talking to a food vendor the other day, and he didn't know about it. He didn't know how to find out about it. And I said, you go to the Killingley Business Association meeting. And to me, because you know how it is when you're so inside it, you live it every day. You live in your house every day. You don't notice that maybe it needs to be painted. But this guy didn't know that you would go to the Killingley Business Association to learn about Killingley Second Saturdays. He didn't know that you would go to the Putnam Business Association to learn about Putnam First Fridays. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of surprising to me that people don't know that. Business people in the area don't know that. And I think it's important to make sure that, just sometimes you have to talk like a kindergartner to people. Right. And when I do this podcast, a lot of times I try to remind people, like, just put it out there for somebody that doesn't know anything about anything.
And it's true. Before you get started, it's hard to know where to start. Mm-hmm. Before you join, it's hard to know. Now, I do think that technology has helped with some of that. I think that if you're plugged into Facebook,
Facebook's great.
There is still a population out there that somehow doesn't have a Facebook. But if you have a Facebook, I mean, that's where I find out about a lot of the events that are happening in Killingley.
For me, it's everything. I don't think there's... WINY on Facebook is a great resource too.
Yes.
But I mean, that's where I get everything. I think audiobooks, podcasts, and Facebook, that's where I learn things now. Right. The only thing I watch on TV anymore is Netflix and Amazon and Hulu sometimes. So otherwise, it's all Facebook, and occasionally I'll go on Instagram to see my kids. Yeah. My kids are on Instagram, and that's the only place that I see them on social media, because they're not on Facebook yet. But so that's important.
Facebook.
That's important. You got to have...
We're on Facebook. We have a page. We try... right now, what we're trying to do is not overwhelm people with legal facts, but instead, I don't know if you've seen, but we've been doing it for a couple of months now. Every Monday, it's just this little snippet, like, be kind, or it's just a little, you should go on and check it out. Every Monday, we post something. It's usually first thing in the morning, a little inspirational, maybe a little witty. But you can always, because... I am of this generation, so if you message me on the Facebook page, I will answer almost always. So it's just a great resource. It's a way that we can all be plugged in. I get my news that way. Like you said, I watch Winnie Radio that way. So
I learned about the Veterans Coffee House at the Killingley Business Association meeting, the Putnam Business Association meeting, and you can learn about a lot of things from there. But the Veterans is that's a great organization, and I think I need to learn more about them, actually, because I keep hearing how many hundreds of people there are, and I'm like, I can't even imagine how these meetings must be. It's got to be like a convention. So,
I have not been.
I haven't been to one yet. If you have the opportunity to have conversations with any of them, the stories that you hear are amazing. Mm-hmm. They're proud of their background. They're wearing all of the hats and the jackets, and they would love to talk to you about it. And they are very proud to be a part of the Veterans Coffee House. So yeah, definitely. Thanks to the veterans. Those guys. Without those guys, we wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't be here.
So. All right. So what do you think our next topic is, Amanda? Do we have anything else that we're gonna go over today, or you think we covered everything pretty good?
Well, I think we covered everything pretty good.
I think we got it pretty good.
We talked about family a lot. I'm a very proud new mom. My son's just over a year. Oh, yes.
That's a good one. Yeah, great. Congratulations.
Thank you. He's crazy. He is a delight. He screeches with excitement, runs all around the house.
That's the best.
My husband and my family has been amazing and has helped support me while I chase this crazy entrepreneurial dream. So I wouldn't be able to do it without them. My husband is with him right now. My grandmother-in-law takes him at least once a week. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She keeps him very active. And my mother, who is also the part-time paralegal in the office, she is my insurance guru. She knows everything to do with insurance. She owned an insurance agency here in town for a long time. So it's great to have her as a resource, both as my mom and as a business partner. Mm-hmm. She helps out a lot in the office, working with all aspects of it. She my parents got a divorce. I was a product of a divorce. I was very young. I don't remember it, but I do remember the after effects. So that's part of why I've always been passionate about family law. But my mom has been able to provide this great resource, not only with insurance and with her experience with family law, but with contract law, with the motor vehicle accidents. She helps with the insurance part. But then she's also this paralegal who helps out in the office and helps get all the paperwork done and is the notary. And so it's been great that not only are we a firm that helps families, but we are a firm made up of family, which is fantastic. So
I also want to say thank you very much, because I have been trying to get an attorney to come on my podcast for so long. And I'm so happy that you are the first attorney that I've had on my podcast, because it's law is such a complicated subject, and there's just so much to talk about. And I feel like there's so much to learn, and there's so many people out there that need help understanding legal, whether it's family law or real estate or all of these different subjects. They're so complicated to navigate. So thank you so much for being on the show. And if there's ever any reason that you think that we might need to have like a quick update, something that you learned that could be really helpful to people, that's kind of the goal of this podcast too. Okay. Is that I would love to get some new information. Like I just learned yesterday at the Realtors Association of Central Massachusetts that there is this a first-time homebuyers incentive in Massachusetts. It's a $5,000. You have to fall within a certain income guidelines, and you have to be buying in Worcester, and you get a $5,000 basically credit. To buy the house. But then when I was not interviewing, but having them do a video, I just held up my phone and recorded a quick video at this event. They also told me about these other incentives that are like $15,000 and $12,000 and another $5,000. Wow. So there's a total of like $35,000 incentives for first-time homebuyers in Massachusetts, and some of it's just in Worcester, and some of it's all of Massachusetts, and you just have to look and find it and jump through some hoops and fill out some paperwork, and if you qualify for it, you could get up to $35,000.
That's great.
And I mean, who can't use $35,000 when they're buying a house?
Right.
So things like this, I like to try to use it to talk about it on this podcast, to get the word out. And I'm not saying like a million people listen to this podcast, but I try my best to share it on Facebook, and I think it's gaining a little bit of ground, and I think it's pretty interesting. And it'll be a pretty good archive of interesting personalities. Yeah. And I'm trying to make it the people, the movers and the shakers, and the people that are getting things done in northeastern Connecticut and central Massachusetts. So thank you very much for representing the legal.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Category. Yeah, really good to have you. I've seen you at a bunch of business meetings, and we've never really had a lengthy conversation before. So it's really nice to meet you and sit down and have a good conversation with you. We should go grab coffee sometime. If you ever want to grab a coffee, Victoria Station Cafe, Nolly's in Danielson, Ben's Beans, whatever it is. We just sit down and have a great conversation and talk about whether it's real estate law, family law, probate. I would love to learn more about probate. Yeah. And I can help you, potentially get the word out of things that you've learned about, and we can maybe help people learn more about these things on a regular basis. I'd love to have you on the show on a regular basis. Every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever you want to do. Sure. If you have time, we can do this. And if you have, like I said, an important topic and you want to just give me a call, and we could even record the phone call, and you could just have like a 5-minute like legal update from Lawton of Lawton Associates. So
all right, we'll work something out.
All right, Amanda. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Let's have your contact information one more time so that if people can contact you if they have any questions.
Absolutely. So the website is lawtonlawassociates.com. That's the website. And so my email is amanda@lawtonlawassociates.com. And the work phone is 860-481-6592. All
right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the show today. I am Anthony Chabot with Chabot and Associates Real Estate Group of EXP. And if you have any real estate questions, you can feel free to give me a call at 508-847-0902. Lots of crazy things going on in the real estate world right now. I just cannot believe how many things are selling like crazy. Just had a land lot waterfront in Thompson go under agreement a couple days ago. I had a Putnam King Street lot go under agreement yesterday. Believe it or not, 2 new land listings this week, a 45-acre subdivision in raw land in Plainfield for $450,000 coming on the market in a couple days. A 30-acre raw land in Putnam, haven't determined the price on it yet, but that's going to be another great lot coming on the market hopefully within a week. And then also Let's see, we have so many properties that are coming on, but also so many properties that are going under agreement. It's really, thank God I have my admin, my fiance, Megan Lawrence, helping me keep track of this stuff, because she's doing all the paperwork and she is amazing. She's such a huge help. So thank you, Megan. If you listen to this podcast, thank you so much for all your help. And thanks everybody for listening to the podcast. And if you have any questions about anything going on locally, feel free to give me a call. My number is 508-847-0902. Anthony Chabot, Chabot Associates Real Estate Group of EXP. So have a great day, everybody.